Hey people, it cooled down about 91 degrees, so I figured I'd get out here and cut some grass. I figure I'd get one more shot of this beard because we fixed to get a divorce. We having problems. So I quit reading and Deuteronomy. I went back to Proverbs where I was, and I learned some stuff, and I found out that I was a wise man. So I'm gonna spread a little bit of my wisdom. I'm going to tell y'all what I think about gay marriage and abortion. You know, I think the government ought not have nothing to do with either one of them. The government ought to just keep their nose out of it. You know, I've been watching them abortion rights marches, and 98% of those people I see out there marching don't have a chance of getting pregnant anyway. You know, it seems like they're just paid protesters. And a gay marriage, you know, whoa, let them have it. You know, maybe we could have a law against sex in public, but everything else is your own damn business. You know, if you want to have abortion, that's between you and your doctor. You know, I really don't have a say. You know, I've never been pregnant, and I don't plan on getting pregnant. But I'm fixing to go get a shower and wash this sweat and grass off me and get rid of this damn beard I wiped and go find me some groceries and finish this movie up with some stuff that's going to blow your mind that I read in Proverbs. And it's going to prove that the more education you got, the dumber you are. You really don't have a clue what's going on. It's going to prove that sailors wrote the majority of the Bible. And it's going to prove that they lied to us about everything, even things that don't even matter.
5 minutes later.
This is what I do for health food after I cut the grass. So I'm going to start here with Susan K. You are so sweet. That is the wrong answer. You know, you're one of the people that we want around. When it comes down, I'm going to go high out in a tree, and I'm shooting everybody who comes over there at you. But there's a chance, you know, you might be bluffing. You might already have a taste for human meat, and you might be tricking them to come on up in there. So that was in reference to her comment on couple movies ago where I was talking about this food shortage that they're trying to force on us right now. You know, they're destroying all our food because they're trying to start a rebellion. But she says if my neighbors are hungry and we have food, they will be fed. If they want to kill me for food, they can have me, because I'd rather die for another than live in a place like that. You know, and that's so true, but you know, you're one of the good people. You're one of the people we want to have around afterwards. And so either way, you know, it's just the wrong answer. Even though it's a really great answer, it's wrong. You know, and I've answered, you know, I told her, you know, that's right. That's the right way to be, but I'm going to try to hold out till my job's done. And my job is I'm trying to make this a better earth to come back to. And Susan says, I like to think that I'm not coming back. Instead, I'm going to a new heaven and a new earth. And, you know, that's the worst part about the Christian religion. That's what I hate most about it, is they got everybody thinking that, hey, don't worry about this place, you know, leave this place trash, you mess. You know, you're going to heaven. You're going to a better place. You know, and whether that's true or not, it's just wrong. Don't teach people that. That's what's wrong with the earth now. You know, let everybody know that you're going to reincarnate, and you know, whatever you didn't learn this trip, you know, you're coming back in another place to learn it again. And you might be, you know, if you poison the earth, you're coming back as a worm to roll in the poison you put on it. They try to label this as monotheism, but this is actually an ancient image of St. Peter trying to get in heaven. I believe I drew this in a past life when the Romans came down to Egypt trying to feed me that shit. So it was that reading in Proverbs that helped me figure out the difference between the swastika and the Nazis. This is not a swastika. This is not Z's. These are Z's, and these are not Z's. You know, it's ancient language. This is a Z, same as our Z. And not Z's come from this letter N that used to look more like this than just opposite. And you can almost see it here, but it's cross N's. N is the seed. N is male. And you see it when Moses caught two men fighting. Those were Nazis. You know, it's an ancient way of cartooning a fight. That's kind of what this represents, you know, the feet sticking out. But feet and hands are two men fighting. 4 feet are Nazis. You see it here in Exodus 2:13, you know, and behold, and 2 men, Hebrews, were fighting. And it's NXXIS. You can see it, you know, they give it the NITZ, TZIM, and M is an S, and that's Nazis. And that means 2 men rolling around. Those are Nazis. That's homosexual men. Nazis. In a book before that, in Genesis 2, about the same place, you can see, you know, the man and his wife are had. H-A-D. This is a S. S-W-A-S-T-U. Had swastu. Had swastu. The swastika is a man and a woman. And that's what you're looking at. These are 4 G's. 4 G's is 4 feet. That's 2 people. You know, and a swastika is a man and a woman, and a Nazi is 2 men. And that's why when you see this worldwide symbol, you know, most of the time you see it runs backwards. Yeah, all these to the right, yeah, that's all homosexual. All to the left, that's straight. You know, the 2 of them naked, the man and his wife, is the swastika. The signs of the Roomies, R-U-U-M-M-I-S, Roomies. The signs of Roomies had swastika. And the 2 men Hebrews were fighting is the sign on seas of in rise Nazis. And what caused me to run into this was this other word for the man. You know, a man here, A-I-S. This is an ace. You know, now down here, the man is the hads. And so you see the little line down here. And so this, when you second time you read this, it's had, and then this is an M because it's not final. E-A-D, had mead. Mead is honey wine, and the sign is of Roomies had mead, and they were drunk, was it too? And they were drunk, was it too? And will, and then A-W-L again, and will all it in bashes too. Drunk and bashing. Had swastit, 2 T's, the swastit to will it bash to, but when had mead, was it to will all it in bash to. If y'all ever drank any mead, any honey wine, God, just honey and pineapples makes some excellent stuff, and it's really strong. And you get them old girls on that mead, and ooh, they lose some inhibitions, and was it to will all it bash you. And this helps me figure out this tree of life a little better. You know, they're all have little differences on them, but you can see, you know, this is the feminine side, and you got Sophia here, and Jupiter, and Nike, Venus. And on the masculine side, you got Saturn, and Mars, and Mercury. And so if I compare it over here, you know, it says, you know, the feminine side is positive, masculine side is negative. And everybody thinks that Zion is going to be the same, this great place, you know. You can see that Zion's spelt with an M, you know, from, and 2 X's, XX, and then IY, 2 I's, UN. And it's the tax, the TX, the tax at where, the tax at where shall go forth the law, That's what law means. And so usually you'll see this word, the Torah, T-U-R-E, with a dot in the T. It's where your word mature comes from the law, mature. It means everything ages. That's the law. Everything ages. Mature. Torah, T is the mark. And then W-R, Vav, connect. And R, the begin. And then E is life. U-R-E is to begin life. Where. And mature is from the mark where life is, the mark where life is the beginning, to begin life, and everything from that is your age, is mature. And most of the time you'll see this dot in the T, and that means two T's. If she's mature, it's the tit wear. If she don't have tits, she's not mature. And his ear listening to the law is M-S-E-S-E-M-O-T-T-U-R-E. The mass mature, his ear listening to the law. And so in Proverbs 29, it's why I noticed, the first word in there, the man is the A-I-S. And that's an ace. An ace in the deck of cards has the most power. And that's what an A means, the power, I-S. The power is. The power may consume. The power is the ace. And they use a bunch of different words in here for man. Here's the ace again, and that's just whoever loves the ace. And down here, a man is GVR, the giver. And you don't see the word Adam in here for man anywhere. And so it's talking about a type of man. Here's the man, he's now an A-N-S-I, or man. And if you check on the history of poker, they'll say the farthest they can find it back is in the 10th century. And they'll tell you there was no such thing as a deck of cards. They'll say poker is old sailor's term. It was a game that they played with cards on the boat. From the Irish, the polka, and the French, the poke, and German, poking, meaning to brag as a bluff. And they say they can't find it any farther than, 1800. And they'll tell you that, the oldest known cards, were just from the mid-15th century. And they can't find it anywhere before this. And I can prove all that's a lie right here in this Proverbs. In poker we have terms we use, the dead man's hand is aces and eights. And, a full house is 3 of one and 2 of the other. And on the boat, we don't call it a full house, we call it a boat. So there's many ways to play poker, many different games, and 7-card stud is real common, where the dealer, he's going to give you 2 cards down. He gives everybody 2 cards down, and then he lays 1 card face up. And then the bidding starts, And whoever's got the highest card, it's on them. They got the first option to bid. And so, if the bid's on you, you look at your 2 hidden cards in the hole, and if you're holding the ace, the bid's on you. But a wise man holding that ace, he'll say, check. And he usually says, if he's the one holding the ace, he says, ace, checks. And that means I'm not going to bid, I'm going to pass it on to the next guy. And what he's doing, he's checking. He's checking the bid over to the next guy. But he's also trying to figure out what's in the other hands over there, what they're holding. Because if that ace comes out with a bid from the get-go, he's going to scare a bunch of them out. That's less money in the pot. And so a wise man holding the ace checks. Ace checks. And that's what that means, a wise man. And so this is proof that they were playing poker when the book of Proverbs was written. And not just this, but all the way through here, it's talking about poker. And life is a game of poker. It doesn't matter. The high cards don't always win. Poker, those cards just score hands.
Poker's a game of lying is what it is. It's a game of bluffing. And ace checks, nice pot. You can see the dot over the S up here. That means an H or an E. And you can see here, N-I-S-H is an N-I-S-E, a nice pot. The nice pot. It doesn't mean contends. It means you got a nice pot. Ace checks, nice pot. At ace, evil. And they got the word evil interpreted as foolish. But you can see it right here, E-V-I-L, evil. But the rest of the time, fool and foolish is Casil in this chapter. Of Casil. And they'll put these two different words in different categories. You don't even see the Casil here. But they'll give them the same meaning. Fool, of a fool, foolish. But everybody knew it. The word evil was in here, so that's why they give this R-O, evil, in the line before. But this doesn't mean foolish or fool. It only means fool when it's followed by an I, and it's silly, S-I-L-Y, silly, foolish. And evil, and so this isn't and rages, whether the fool rages. You see the R-G-Z here, but this is where gaze, evil where gaze. Ace checks, nice pot. At ace, evil where gaze. And chef, S-H-Q, S-H-F, and chef. When you're playing poker, the chef is the one that's passing out the cards. He's the chef. He's the dealer. And chef, vain, wane. Not and there is no, but declining. Vain, wane is declining. Not, and chef, declining, not. The evil where gaze, and the dealer, vain, not, and takes no cards. You're playing draw poker, and somebody that declines cards, that means they already have their hand all together. It means they have a flush or a straight or a five of a kind or a full house already. They don't want to give up a card because every card in their hand is useful. And the dealer, vain not. I don't need any cards. And you see it's written in form of some poetry, is the ace checks, nice pot. At ace, evil where gaze, to chef, vain not. I don't need no cards. I got an ace showing, and I ain't drawing no cards. Everybody's going to get out. It doesn't mean you have the best hand. You don't have to have the best hand. You got an ace showing, and you don't draw none. You could have a 2, a 6, and a 7 and a 3 left. They don't see your other cards. They think you got ace, king, queen, jack, and 10 there. So that's what I was doing. I was checking to see where's the first place this word ace was used. And that was it. The first time was in Genesis 2:24. That was 2:25, where it's talking about swastika. And it's not used for man often. A man-child, for Cain. And then it comes up in Genesis 7:2, that's the story of Noah's Ark. And it's a swastu, a male and his female. He's loading up the ark with animals, so it doesn't mean man. It's a male and female. And the ace was it too. Of every animal clean you shall take with you 7, a male and his female. That's the same word used for a man and his wife. And of the animals that are not clean, 2. The signs, ace was it too. So it seems that they were playing some 7-card stud on Noah's Ark. And the ace was it too, women. That's your word for women right there. They just rub it on out. The women, EV, have in, 2 B's, have in Helma, blood. The women having blood. Assure, later, who, signs, ace was 2. Same old poetry. And so it's been a while since I read this, in over a year. I've learned a lot more about reading it since, but the first time I read it, and that's what it sounded like to me, was they outlawed gambling, same as they did here in Mississippi, so they had to put it dockside, had to put it on boats. And he got a big old casino boat going on, a casino whorehouse. And a sure later who signs Ace was too. So I by no means am pro-abortion. I'm more anti-government because our government is not here for us. It's the government that's just putting all this on, trying to start shit. They're trying to start civil war in America. But I think all men, they should get free abortions. I think government needs to get out of everything except government. They got their hand out too much. It's like the hand of God. I read this book called God Man, Our Final Evolution. I think this was the beginning of my journey. This is when I really started to wake up. I read it in 2 weeks. I couldn't put it down. And I thought it was older than that, but yeah, I thought I had picked it up just about 1998 or before. So I must have got the first paperback. I think I gave $60 for it back then, and I gave it to my son. But it begins with a little brainwashing technique, the same one they've been using on us, And I could see why it was doing that, I could see why it was trying to wash out everything that you'd been taught. And then it starts with this story about John J. Hill, a railroad man. And the little story about the railroad man explains everything about how and why your government works the way it does, why they want to get their hand in everything, why they want to collect all the money and then pass it back out, where everything now costs 10 times more than it should. They authorize one hammer that I can buy for $3 at Home Depot, but it's the only one authorized for military use. The military pays $65 for the same hammer. I don't know where to find this book. I found an ad in a newspaper maybe that was selling this book, and they've been trying to shut it up. They've been trying to hide it. And he tells a story about the government coming in and breaking his presses, his printing presses, several times. And if you Google God Man, it won't even come up. You have to Google God Man, Our Final Evolution. And he got another book called Neotech that I picked up after that. And what it is he left one chapter out. I don't remember if it was 2, 3, or 4, but it was a chapter. Both the guys that wrote this, they were poker players. They play in the poker championships, and they were both winners of the poker championships. And they got together. And so what they did is they left the chapter about playing poker out of it and put it in the next book, because they wanted people to concentrate on the other chapters, what it was about. And so this writer, Frank R. Wallace, he was the writer, and he run DuPont's Brandywine and Chestnut Laboratories for 20 years prior to this. He wasn't no dumbass. Poker was just a side gig for him, and they trying to wash him on out. And he had met this other guy, Mark Hamilton, and he had specialized in marketing. They met at the poker games and talked. And so he just assisted in getting these writings out. But the reason abortion was banned in the first place, the enemies in the Hebrew is the Xr, the Chiro. That's the Catholic Church. And they were trying to get rid of Adam. And Adam was the first man. And Adam means red. And it's the same thing, the Spanish all came to South America, and they were trying to breed all the native out of them. The first man was made in our image, and they had that God gene, and they were better at connecting with the spirit. The old red Indians, they were a lot better at connecting with the spirit. They understood the spirit world. And they made poor slaves, they weren't scared of death. And, you have to have all your slaves compliant. You can't have one slave says no in front of the others. because then all of them are going to do it. So when Satan took over the world, he had to get rid of all the red man. And so that was their job. They ruled the world and raped women and outlawed abortions. They'll say Satan is the adversary. You see it right here. It's the XR, the Chiro. And it's where your word crime comes from. And it's the base word for the czar, bazaar. It's spelled with an XR, BXR, in the czar, the plant head, the ruler, the czar, the Kaiser, the ruler of the czars, the Chiros, your adversaries, the Chiros. And so they fought back by giving them AIDS, AIDS, of their calamity, in the line of to cells the lot it time with, and they hooked up the hookers with AIDS, and that's how they got back at Satan. And I will make drunk my arrows with blood, and my sword shall devour flesh with the blood of hell, HLL. And I would have said, I will dash them in pieces to cease from anus, ANUS, from anus's curse. From the anus's curse, AIDS. And this is ancient. It's way back there in the book of Job. The holy arch with AIDS against their ways of destruction. Upon them their destruction. All 'em to AIDS. How often is the lamp of the wicked put out? The wive, W-I-V-A. That's wive. The wive, all 'em to AIDS. Marry up to AIDS. And how do you spread AIDS? You get laid. The calamity is laid. And this is in Jeremiah 49:8. I read it in a movie called AIDS, the final plague of Egypt. And ensue upon to homie few. Lessen ties by Didion. Give aid as to the Vati holy. It's an ancient word for the Vatican. Will bring upon him the Vati holy. What pack dat to? And I read that in another movie and explained where that pack dat come from. And it's a homosexual term. So I don't know if I have any homosexual viewers, but I ain't trying to hurt your feelings. I used to enjoy drinking with the homosexuals. They had the best jokes. They had the best sense of humor. But I am trying to hurt all them Nazis' feelings. And I just want to let y'all know, if you miss it the first time, all you Nazis, yeah, that's the symbol. That's an ancient symbol of homosexuality that y'all are sporting around. Y'all think it's two men fighting, but it's two men rolling. And unmade music, I just got your beep. Thank you very much. And Susan K., I totally understand. Feed the people. That's something my dad instilled in me. We always feed everybody. I probably got about $100,000 worth of feeding people in my lifetime. When I'm working, I always take my whole crew out and feed them. Sometimes twice a day. And us coon asses down here, we eat any damn thing. They're not going to starve us out. Alligators are scared of us. We put a little gumbo fillet on it, and it's delicious. And so if you got a sassafras tree in your yard, you can eat every part of this tree, from the top to the bottom, the root, the stem. Everything's edible on the sassafras. Plant one out there in the yard. The British sailors used to think it was a holy tree. They didn't think a ship could sink if it smelled like sassafras. And so this is what we grind up to make gumbo fillet. And it's also the origin of root beer. We call it sassafras tea, what you call root beer.
Don't forget. I won't forget.
Alright, I'm going to cut this off here. Good day.